going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be kind of like a jump cut situation here. I've got a bag of treats right here, not edible, but they are treats nonetheless. And we're going to be using this body, which I've already kind of disassembled for the most part. The annoying part with this body, and if anybody knows, is that the legs are uneven, and it's really quite kind of annoying to have to swap different legs or feet with a different character, but this is what we're going to start with. Like I said, I've disassembled, and I've actually I'm going to be using the feet for a different character and the forearms for another different character. But this is going to be really dissected. This is going to be heavily dissected, this body. The next pieces are all the boss pieces that I had. Oh, that's the foot I'm going to be using for somebody else. We've got a foot, and we've got another foot. And then we've got the Bosk arms. And we've got the Bosk head. So, there's a character, actually, I just finished, I just finished Star Wars Squadrons. And there's a character that I thought was pretty cool, is on the Rebel side, named Frisk. So, we're going to make that character today, him or her or it. We're gonna make that character today. I'm gonna have to do some painting because Frisk is, and I'll throw a little. There's Frisk right there on the top left. We're gonna do some painting with the skin tone, and then I'm gonna do some shading with it as well. Depending on how I paint it, I might have to repaint the eyes. I don't know. We'll see what happens there with that. But essentially, they have pretty much the same kind of eyes. The arms I will have to repaint. Obviously, the entire arms, because they're going to have to match the skin tone. So it's going to have to be all one cohesive color. Same thing with the feet. But here is the challenge here. I have to not only get the head in there, right? But I have to actually chop this entire neck piece off. So that's going to be something to get this to seat into the neck enough. And as you can see, the head is far wider than this neck piece. So this is going to be the challenge. And we're going to see how this works out. It could either be really great or it can look really awful and be a complete failure. So we're going to try it. Like I said, I got this body. This is the Rogue One body. The legs actually do plug in, which it's quite funny. Once they plug in, like one leg is entirely taller, way taller than the other. And it's kind of funny, actually. Like if I if I left it, he'd be standing almost like this, pretty much for the most part. So we're gonna have to either. Well, I initially thought I was going to chop the leg off. I was like, nah, that'll ruin the sculpt. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to chop the leg down a little bit. It just makes everything a lot easier. I'm probably going to have to take about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch off of the shin. And hopefully it lines up properly. I'm going to probably cut low enough where the hole isn't going to line up with the peg anymore. So I might have to chop this peg off and then just glue the leg or the foot to the actual rest of this leg. But it should line up. I have measured and it should line up. And just to kind of give an idea of what that'll look like, it'll look something around this. So it should line up nicely and it's pretty flush. So I already went and did the homework there. Don't have to worry about that. It's mostly this neck, and just kind of worried because if this doesn't seat in there deep enough, it's going to be sticking out like a sore thumb and you're going to see this big hinge. So we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it. Like I said, I got this figure really dirt cheap. I think it was like $7 for an extra Anton Merrick or Antok Merrick. So we'll just go with that. But that's going to be the plan. So there's going to be a bunch of jump cuts and stuff like this into the future. So let's go. Now, the first thing I'm going to be using is this. I'm going to take the neck off first. I'm going to start there. I'll be using this grinder on my Dremel. And the Dremel I will be using is just a regular corded Dremel 3000. It's an older Dremel, but it gets the job done. Right now I have a little pointed tip grinder right there. But that's what we're going to work with, so let's get to that. Tight fit, but I think it is gonna just work. He is gonna look a little bit like a big head. Now it looks weird now, but I think this might actually work. I might just have to go a little bit deeper on the sides here. This jaw's a little bit saggy, so I might go with this one. So let's try that one. I have a couple Bosks that I've been using for customs. And I think, yeah, I think it's due to me kind of playing around with it. Yeah, but this one, I'll probably go with this head. It's seating in there a lot easier too. I guess I don't know. I think this might work. I think it's pretty well seated in there. I mean, it's in there. It's not coming out. So that will actually work. Just try not to. So if you guys want to do this yourselves, just it will work as long as you just don't. You got to leave enough plastic around the collar just so it kind of turns malleable and kind of expands to the point where it won't snap or break. And I'm looking at the head sculpt. I'm just trying to see if there's any real big differences. They are both, I think this one might be the original 2015 head that I'm using. And I think this is the archive head. But the archive head, for some reason, is a little bit droopier in the mouth. So he's kind of always got his mouth open. So I'm going to go with the original 2015 head and not the archive one, which is droopy mouth. So, but we could save this for another character another time. That's perfectly fine. And he does look like he has a very large head right now. But, I mean, that is kind of how Bosk looks on his original body. Now, that body is a much larger body. Let me go grab a Bosk. This is another 2015 Bosk. This was my original Bosk that I had. But I don't think it looks too awful. You know, the neck does sink down a little bit easier into this body, but that's just because this body is kind of meant for Bosk, where this body is kind of meant for a much skinnier, smaller Luke Skywalker figure. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to work. Have more than half the body done, and I think it looks pretty good. You know, he's always got the kind of banana arms, you know. He's always had those kind of arms where they're kind of gangly, you know. And just to kind of prove the point, his arm is like way down to almost to his knee right here. So I think this works. You know, it's a little bit longer than normal, but I still think it works. It's still almost touching the knee, just like this. So it works. I think it's looking good so far. So, and he is almost there. I'm pretty sure I can just take, and there's no left or right, I don't think. I looked for something that said left or right on here, and unless I just had bad lighting and I didn't see it, Usually it's around the shin where it'll say left or right, but I don't see anything, and I think these are ambidextrous, to be honest with you. I even looked on the inside of the foot, because usually there's like an arch, but with Bosk, there's no arches, so I don't think it really matters which one I put on. Let's just put one on, and we'll go from there. Like so. So this one's very loose, extremely loose. So what I'll have to do, and he is going to be I guess a little bit shorter than I'd like. And like, here's Bosk. He's going to be definitely larger. So, and like I said, I am working with a much smaller body, so it's a little bit more tough. I still think this might work. I'm now pondering. I'll have to figure that out. But this is definitely going to be in there. I think we're just going to have to cut into the leg and chop this off. Now, I'm probably going to do this off camera just because what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to line this up properly. I got to measure. I have to line this up. And then I'm going to be using a knife. And I'm just going to cut this right off. I've done this multiple times with tons of other customs. You saw the Boshek. I had to cut those legs off of a Finn figure. And the Imperial Disguise, or whatever you want to call them, Finn. But this is a different plastic. So what I'm going to do is I like to heat mine up first, so it's like a hot knife through butter, except a hot knife through plastic. And I'm going to measure this up with this one here at the correct shin level. And we're just going to take, I think, this much off. And then that should line everything up properly where he's got the proper legs in. Now, like I said, this is kind of the right width, which is pretty good. I think that lines up pretty good. It looks pretty solid. It doesn't look too floaty, you know? Okay, and we are back after about a day worth of painting from the time that I had after work and such. Oops, bumping the camera. And here is the, I want to say, majority of the finished product here. I still have yet to seal all the paint and everything, but and it's weird. Some of the photos I saw, like in game, he's kind of like almost like a pinkish tan. But I've seen other promo images where he's gray. And I've even seen other people's customs that they've done of him, and they make him gray. So I just kind of went with gray for now for him. I can always add pink detail to him down the road. But here's the majority of the finished product here. Like I said, I can always go back and kind of spruce him up, fix him if I really deem that he's not really all that accurate looking. But this is going to be my Frisk for now. I think it came out pretty solid. I tried to leave like some straight brushing. And I purposely kind of went over certain aspects. So it does pull out some of the cracks and crevices in his face, so you can really see that. I didn't end up having to repaint the eyes, which was solid, which was good. I was able to get the paint in all those crevices and everything. The feet, you know, it's not the most perfect fitment, but I think it works for what I needed this to be. He is a little bit on the shorter side. I know Frisk is a little bit taller. Most Trandoshans are pretty tall. But here is an X-Wing pilot. He is taller than an X-Wing pilot. Here's another one. Just generic X-Wing pilots. And I think it's fine for now. Like I said, if it really starts to bother me that maybe it's a little bit more inaccurate, then maybe I'll change it down the road. But I think as far as fitment with the neck, let me get these guys out of here. I think as far as fitment with the neck and everything, it worked out really, really beautifully. And hopefully this helped maybe another customizer or even yourself down the road with possibly using this body going forward for, your X-Wing pilot alien type characters. Because once you Dremel properly, this neck really does become very malleable and very flexible, and you can really get other heads in there. So that is actually a plus. I don't know if that works the same, and I would assume it would with a regular X-Wing pilot body, but because it's essentially, I want to say the majority of it's the same sculpt and everything, but I think this turned out pretty good for now. It's still going to probably be a little bit of work in progress, but for now, I think it worked out. I think it turned out pretty solid. I'm still going to wait to seal the paint on there just to see if I do change my mind. But there is my Frisk. And I will end up having to get a helmet for him. All right, future ODC here, and I just realized I didn't show you any of the paints that I use, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. For the gray, I actually used a apple barrel pewter gray for the base coat. I did 2 base coats for the pewter gray, and then for the final coat, I did a pewter gray mixed with some purple just to give it a little bit of a lighter tint. And I also diluted it with some water. So that helped a little bit with that little bit of a lighter tone. And then for the nails, this is the same thing that I used actually for the nails on Cabe, the Cantina patron. I use a apple barrel antique white in the matte. I use all of my paints in a matte unless they call for a gloss for like boots or something like that, and then I go really light with a gloss for boots. He doesn't have any boots because he's got fetuses, so there you go with that. Now for the arms, you'll see a little bit of blue paint for the arms. I had to paint match that, and that was actually really, really, really simple. I just used the pewter gray, and I used this blue, and just kind of kept mixing and mixing and mixing, and I think I used about the same amount of blue as to gray, and it came out like spot on perfect, like absolutely perfect. So you can pick these up really cheap on Amazon as well. I think all of these paints probably go for under $1 a piece. And if you guys also wanted to invest, you can pick up these squirt bottles. They're like ketchup squirt mustard bottles too. You can pick those up for like, I think they have like a 3-pack and a 5-pack for like $1 a piece. So there you go. If you wanted to know about the paints that I use, those are all the paints. And back to the video. Other than that, that's going to be pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been one of the first ones that I've done in a long time as far as customizing, I guess, in real time. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a fun process to do. And, it's always trial and error when it comes to a custom. So, but there he is. There is my Frisk. He'll go well on my pilot shelf. The very few pilots that we do have from the Black Series. And, but yeah, I'd like to thank Terry Turner and Woodman29 for your continued support as channel members. And if you do want to join as far as a channel membership goes, they are right in the description box below, so you can check that out if you want to. Other than that, if you want to like, comment, and subscribe, you can do that as well. That does help the channel grow. And if you want to see more content, that will also be available for you. Be sure to ding those dongs for the notifications. And other than that, that's going to be it for me. Here is Frisk, and I will see you guys on the flip side.